GM, and we're live. Welcome to what's going to be another great episode of DevNTell. So, if you didn't know, DevNTell is a 30-minute podcast held every Friday for people in the Web3 community to come on and showcase what they've built. So, you can be either a big time startup founder, a weekend hacker, or anyone in between. And this is your platform to showcase what you've built. Today, I am ecstatic to welcome Idris, who's the co-founder of Web3 Afrika. Web3 Afrika exists to accelerate the education and opportunities of a new wave of builders and bring diversity into Web3 conversations globally by fostering communities in Africa, Africans in diaspora, and peoples of African descent from across the world. So if you stick around for today's episode, you'll see Idris give us a great comprehensive overview of Web3 Afrika. All right, let's get into it. GM, welcome to the show, Idris. Excited to have you on.
Yeah, GM, really excited to be here. I was actually enjoying the music. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. That's custom made.
Yeah. Really, yeah. I could imagine putting on my headset and
yeah, just bouncing out to it. That's right. Yeah. Same. Welcome to the show. I'm really ecstatic to finally have you on after all these years. I know you've been a great supporter of the show, so ecstatic to have you on. I guess before we get going, did you want to give a brief introduction about yourself if folks aren't familiar?
Yes. Thank you very much once again. So my name is Idris Olubisi. I am a software engineer and a technical writer. I currently work as a developer advocate at Interrupts Lab, working on the Axelar network, and also one of the founders of Web3 Afrika, where we try to help the community and also contributing to the community at large, and particularly to onboard, support, and educate Web3 builders. And yes, aside that, I also do like other activities like invest more time in writing. I hit the gym quite a lot. I do some other activities around community. It's mostly focused on, if I'm not doing anything software engineering related, then I'm probably doing something around, writing, or maybe I'm attending an event or speaking at an event and thereabout. Yeah. So I'm really excited to be here while I prepare for my trip tomorrow to DEF CON. And yes, thank you very much.
Oh man, yeah, sound like a very busy band. As most Web3 folks are. I guess, could you speak a little bit about like how you got into software development, how you found yourself in Web3?
Yes, getting into software development is an interesting journey. It's very, very interesting because I started with my mobile phone. I know you might have heard this before, but mine was like, there was a need for me because my system got stolen at the time. And then I wanted to like continue doing stuff because I don't want to give myself excuse. Like, yes, I have to face the reality. I started with my phone, learn a few things with solo learn app at the time, and then also from there I started embedded system. I actually started embedded system like building microcontrollers and then using C++. But at the time I knew I wanted to do something more because I was looking at the roadmap at the time for embedded system. I feel like you end up becoming a trainer, like, which is not really what I wanted to do at the time. I want to be software. I want to like build sites for people and then they pay me for it. So I found web development. I started doing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I got an internship opportunity, and then the internship opportunity categorically called out C#. They wanted somebody with C# or somebody that's interested in C#. I've never done anything with C# and I've heard a lot of story about Java, and I was really scared that it's very hard. But I tried it anyway because with the mindset of after 6 months, if it doesn't make sense to me, then probably I will just switch. But then 5 months into it, I already love the whole thing. And then I just continue pushing. After the internship, we were about 6. Only 2 of us got, the full-time opportunity as software engineer. And then that's how everything started. And I got my first full-time role as a software engineer in 2019. And COVID hit 2020. I started working remotely. Since then, I've been working as a backend engineer for different companies, and I've mostly worked remotely since COVID hit. So it's been really interesting. Even before transitioning into DevRel, I've been kind of technical and also doing a lot of technical writing, because I don't just build, I also try to share my knowledge as much as I can, because one thing changed the way I think about things at the time, where an article from 2007 helped me around that 2019 to fix a particular .NET problem. And that really changed the way I think. I'm like, this is actually dated 2007. Like, this is 2019, and I still find at least this article for this particular niche really helpful. So it means that somebody can be somewhere and then make meaningful contribution globally that would help anybody anywhere in the world. So that's how I started writing bit by bit, because it's very hard to start. But then after starting, I knew I wanted to do something different, which is combining content and also engineering. I don't want to leave engineering. I don't want to be like a full-time content writer or something like that, because I feel like I will get bored at some point. So I wanted something that would combine software engineering, community, and all of that. And the whole idea of developer relations, I started researching about it. Found blockchain at the time. Blockchain was trending, NFT and all of that. Started looking into it, and then I wanted to transition as a blockchain engineer, or like a smart contract developer at the time. But I wanted more than just coding. That's why I chose the path for developer advocacy. And since then, I got my first opportunity, transition from there to where I am currently, and it's been really, really, really interesting journey so far.
Wow, that's quite an amazing journey, and yeah, I always love hearing about these. Everyone has like a very interesting story to tell, and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing it here. I guess before we get into your content, like, is there do you prefer DevRel over like pure engineering, or is there something that you miss from being just a pure engineer?
Yeah, I think I miss fixing tickets. That's one thing I know. Maybe it's not fun, but I miss that um sense of urgency. I miss that thing that comes with, yes, I have to like fix this thing, and then I'm there battling with this for like 2 3 days. But at some point, one thing I realized is that I'm even doing more than what I would do as this backend engineer right now, because I still write code. I write code like every day. I build software apps. I build like demos every now and then. I write content. I prepare for presentations, do speaking opportunity. When it's time for travel, I travel. These are things that are not included to like software engineering job description. You are just one place and then building, and which is cool. But I think I miss it a bit when it comes to like this tickets need. But yeah, DevRel is fun, and in as much I can get opportunity that keep me hands on, then it will continue to be fun for me. Because I don't want to like stay away from like coding for any reason, at least for the next few years.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I think it's the first time I've heard someone say they enjoy fixing bug tickets, but I mean, it's like 60,
Yeah,
70% of the job. So
yeah,
good for you.
there's always pressure, actually. There's always pressure
Yeah.
to do it. But if you look at it, like, it just helps you grow. Because which day I was looking at some of my articles that did really well. And I noticed that some of the things, the article were particularly based on something I worked on while I was back in engineer, like a particular new feature that I've never done anything about. Like, I have no idea how to implement it. I researched it, and then after doing all of the research and then coming up with a solution that works, then I decided to write about it. So looking at some of my articles, I'm like seeing, oh, this article did really well. And then when I check it, I realize there's some concepts that I learned doing work. So I think that learning opportunity is also part of it that makes it fun. But when you are fixing it or doing it within a strict timeline, it's not fun because you're under pressure. But then after then, it makes like something that is worth it.
But when you do fix it, and
Yeah, when it works.
if it's one of it's one of the great feelings. One of the great
Yeah,
feelings.
only when it works, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, awesome, awesome. Yeah. I guess not to run out of time. So let's get your content, your slides up here. Okay, it should be sharing.
Okay.
As Idris is going through his presentation, if anybody has any questions, please drop them in the chat, and we'll get to them during the presentation. All right, Idris, take it away.
All right. Thank you very much. Once again. But I just want to like go through everything about Web3 Africa in case you're hearing Web3 Africa for the first time, and also some of the things we've done in the past. I was able to like highlight a few, and including like other community activities. But because I want to like make sure that I highlight some of the key things where you can get insights, and if you also want to learn more, you can join our community and you see like some of the other things that we do. But then to get started, like Web3 Africa, yes, what exactly is Web3 Africa? Web3 Africa first is a spin-off from Developer DAO. And then the whole idea of Web3 Africa started when I was facing a particular problem of transitioning into Web3, and then I figured it out myself. But at some point, I started getting requests on, how can I transition? What are some of the things? Do you have any community that is doing something similar? And then at the time, it feels like something interesting, but I wanted to do it like the interesting thing is I wanted to do I wanted to do an extension for Developer DAO. So saying something like Developer DAO Africa or something like that. And then luckily Oscar Fest 2022, which is open source community festival. I gave a talk at the time there. Benada traveled down all the way to Lagos. I met him in person, and we were having a discussion about the extension. But he gave me like an insight on thinking about something that could stand alone and could be niche to like the African ecosystem. And that's when the whole idea of creating a community, because I was scared, like, can I actually create a community and then keep pushing? How am I supposed to do it? But luckily, I found like he also connected me with somebody in the space, Tony Elundo, and then Tony reached out, like he connected us. The goal kind of aligned. He finds it interesting. Also, we added somebody at the time, Zara, that helped us with design and all of that, and also some other core team members at the time. So that's how the whole thing of Web3 Africa started. But then it's clear that we wanted to do one thing. And then we made the goal clear that there are a lot of problems to solve, but the most important thing for us is how can we empower African Web3 builders? How? So we come up with a lot of discussion. In fact, there are so many ideas that we bounce off here and there. We tested some, didn't work. We tried some that we were not expecting to work, but it worked really well. And then we've been iterating over time. So the goal, what is the goal? The goal is quite simple: to onboard, support, and to onboard, educate, and support Web3 builders. And while we are doing this, we also want to continue foster and build Web3 tools and public goods. Because now it's not just about us, but it's about the community. What can the community do with our, onboarding them? After onboarding them, what can they do? After we support them, what can they do? What else can they do? Yes, they need to give back to the community also. If they have any ideas, they are building tools, public goods, they also need to continue to do that. And while we are doing it, the mission is also clear that despite having this goal to onboard support, we also make sure that we have a mission that helps to accelerate education and opportunities for new wave builders in the ecosystem, and also bringing diversity into Web3 conversation globally by fostering communities in Africa, particularly not just Africa, but Africans in diaspora also, because we have a lot of people interested in the African ecosystem, but maybe they relocated at some point, maybe when they are young, or they have the African lineage, but they are far from home, but then they still want to like get in touch. So that's the clear mission for us to drive this goal. But then execution. So it's interesting. Anybody can come up with goals. Everybody can say, yeah, I want to do this. I'm promising that. But then how do we plan to execute this? So we came up with like a lot of ideas, but like the 6 to 7 ideas that key in, and then that we've experimented so far to continue becoming, to continue to be relevant in the space is these things I have listed. Boot camps, yeah. We try boot camps, to help people that are still learning, or like people that have learned something, but they want to also continue learning and then build up. Then also training and workshops. there's a reason why we pay attention to like training and workshop, because when we tried boot camps, we got a feedback of some people that have no idea of what Web3 is all about, and they are completely newbie. And we realized that bootstrapping things might not really help them because they are not learning. And then we introduced trainings and workshops and hackathons. After now, you know how to code, you know how to write. Why not compete for prizes and then even improve more on your skill set, even if you haven't transitioned into Web3? Because at the time, before I transitioned into Web3 as a backend engineer, I started writing for different Web3 companies, and that's because I was already learning. And then when I got the opportunity to start writing, they pay me to write. It gives me like more energy to continue learning. So introducing hackathon also serve as a reward system, which is something we also plan to. We've executed and we still plan our plans to continue executing it. And then events, yes, it's good to do everything online, but having events, maybe virtual events, physical events, is also prominent if you really want to get the attention of builders in African ecosystem, because we always like to see something, we like to see somebody physically, not only virtual. And then of course grants, we needed grants to help us for this execution, and then scholarship and mentorship, because now you've gone through our bootcamp or did our training, you now have the experience, you might also want to give back to the community, and we'll be happy to add you to our mentor list. And for those that also require like mentorship, we can bring you on board for anything you need. Plus scholarship, yeah, for courses that we think would help and also that we want to leverage. But then getting started with the bootcamp. So did we do first? We ran a bootcamp. Our very first bootcamp was facilitated by the great Austin Griffith at the time. And it was a successful one because it was really exciting. And I've been a big fan of Austin before then. So getting that opportunity for him to facilitate that particular bootcamp for us is like really great. We are still grateful, Austin, if you can see this or hear me right now. So we also had like mentors. We had Nada himself and Jenny, one of the core contributors, and then Sharon, who is, I think she is a software engineer, like a blockchain engineer at the time, and they all volunteer. This is like complete volunteering role to help us with the bootcamp. But after the bootcamp, we ran like a survey. We got a feedback from people, and that is where we got to know, yes, a lot of people still needs to learn before they try. When you do speed run, bootcamp, there's some level of assumption, right? But if you go back to the roots, then you need to do some training. So there are some people that have Web2 experience and then they are still very like beginner in Web3. Those type of people, if you give them like a full-fledged project, even if it's a spin-off project that completely spins off everything without them knowing how those things come together, then it's a problem. So we got some of this feedback and then we realized that, okay, I think we need to take a step back a bit and then go back to the grassroots to do something that can help these builders, which is also in line with our goal to onboard them and educate them. So we started doing trainings and workshops. This is our first training, the one we had, and it was a huge one because we got over 400 applications from almost 400 countries, and also total engagement like increased a lot. As you can see on the screen, we have like screenshots when we did the onboarding, when we did the other things, and also some of the engagement here. But then we made this in partnership with Web3 Bridge. Web3 Bridge is also is particularly a training organization. And then what we did was, okay, now that we know that we wanted to train people, instead of trying to look for people here and there, we partnered with Web3 Bridge, which is also focused on the African ecosystem. They provided mentors, they supported us, like the support was really, really great. And if you check like the third screen here, this is when we were doing the onboarding for all the people that registered. And then this is also one of the classes, I think so. Yeah. So moving on, we also knew that people might not be able to join live at the time. So at the very beginning, we made sure we set up our YouTube, set up all of these things to keep track of recordings. And then we started recording all the classes that we have. If you look at our YouTube today, you see all of the classes and webinars that we've done. We invited mentors and then they gave all of this presentation. And on my screen here, you can, this is like a snapshot from our YouTube channel, including some of the events that we did in person that was recorded live and the workshops that we also do. So aside from the training, we also started doing a monthly workshop where we bring like professionals in the space. We've had the likes of Rahat on the session. We've had the likes of Raza, yeah, Raza. We had Genius Yinka. We had Cass. We had a lot of amazing builders. In fact, we had the African lead from the Graph Protocol at the time. We had a mentorship session from even mentors from Web3 Bridge that are like really proficient in what they do. So we also still continue to do like workshops continuously every month where we bring like industry professionals and leaders to come and talk about things. So this is technical sessions, right? We focus on all our workshops. We focus on technical sessions alone, and then yes. So still on the workshop, this is when we announced the Web3 Bridge collab that I mentioned, and then we also did webinar, which is also a good thing to call out because the training we got sponsors from Bonds and also Chain ID, and we try to use the sponsorship to focus on the bounty for the hackathon, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide. And then yeah, this is the workshop session you can see on my screen here, and yeah, it's been interesting after that. Okay, yeah, so I added this also. This is a snapshot from like space. So while we have the workshop that focus more on technical side of things, we also want to carry along like all other Web3 builders to learn about things in the space. So we started doing Web3 Africa spaces um, alongside the workshop. So it's not one-sided, so we can carry everybody along. We've had like a lot of speakers, interesting takes. We talk about things that really matters, things that people outside the crypto space or people that are new to the space are curious to learn more about. So came up with topic and then it was facilitated by one of our contributors. And then before we even started adding even more contributors over time. So this is particularly for space and probably categorized under like the awareness side of, oh, if you are not available to join the workshop or maybe because it's too technical, then you can join one of our spaces because they are quite educational. And then talking about hackathons, right? Hackathons, the first hackathon we had was this one, which is a follow-up activity after our first training. So we also know that, yes, now you think you know what you know, but why not build something and then compete for a particular prize? So that's how we announced this hackathon where we got the support from Bonds and also Chain ID. And that was really helpful to reward our participants. And we were really excited because without that particular bounty, the hackathon will be successful. And getting the hackathon, like after the hackathon, we also partner significantly with like a lot of different community. But to call out, we partner with Build with Cello, where we get like even more people to participate in the hackathon. And then they can compete for 10K CUSD. Yeah, I think that's the hackathon prize. So yeah, this is the announcement here, and this is what we did. And then after the online hackathon, and then we got a lot of feedback. We've been planning, you know how the space work, like it's so hard to get like, sponsorship for hackathon. But then when we had the opportunity again to facilitate an event, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide, but what we did to even make it interesting is do you want to attend event of 7 hours and then we keep giving you like speakers here and there, which is cool. But what if you kind of hack something within 5 hours during the event, and then you get rewarded for even attending the event? So, and we tried it. Like I've not seen this type of approach before in Africa, I would say, yeah, where it's a day long event. So we do events from like 10 or 9, 10 a.m. to like 12 p.m. And then the mini hack starts by 12 and end by 4, and then we give out prizes. So we weren't sure about it, and then kudos to the team, and for agreeing to do this, because it's like it's a crazy idea. Like, why do you want people to come and hack? Why not just call it hackathon? We said no, we wanted something that is related to events, but we just want to infuse that mini hack to get people excited and tell them to come and build. And the turnout was really great, as you can see on the screen. We have the first winner on the left hand side. This guy, he won the first track, and he built something around DJing chess, a chess game that also reward you in it and all of that. So some other guys too here on the screen. So the turnout was really cool because it shows that yes, people are really interested in the event. Plus the hackathon, they didn't just come like without anything. They came with their laptop and came prepared. So this is one of the hackathon. This is another hackathon, which is an on-site hackathon. Then now let's talk about events, like the events we've done in the past, and then some of the things that we're planning to do going forward. So one of them is the Scroll event. Yeah, we organized the Scroll community meetup in Lagos. At the time, Scroll just launched on mainnet, and then they did like a global activation. And then we got in after they selected everyone globally. We got in. We facilitated this event. We had like amazing, amazing, amazing speaker. If you can see this image, this is Yinka. This is Genius Yinka. So we
Nice.
invited him. Yeah, we invited him. Invited like great speakers, managers. This guy is a product manager in Web3. We try to make it diverse for people to see different angles, like Web3. Like, it's not just about being technical, but also there's some senior level role. And then we have like really cool guys. We have um Sheun Lalenge from Hyperbridge for Polytop, like Polytop Labs. Yeah. So, and then we have like some other really great guys on the panel session, like Ope. Now he's now at Fuel Network. Like really, really cool speakers to come give talk. And this is the one we had this year. Before now, we've been doing like hackathons. I'm sorry, virtual events, not physical. So this is the first one that we had earlier this year. And then after that, we moved on to like pre-event workshop to plan for the second event, because the event I talked about, where we wanted event from 9 to 12, and then 12 to 4 for hackathon, and then the remaining hours for the rest of the activities. So we did a pre-event workshop to prepare people, because we know that you can't just come and then hack without even knowing things about what you need to hack. Yeah, so we did a pre-event activities 2 to 3 days before, and we got like really good feedback, as you can see from the caption here, where we invited Harpreet, we invited Favor Onoha. Favor Onoha works at Swing, Harpreet. We also invited Cass, who is a software engineer and a protocol engineer, actually. So yeah, we use this to prepare our attendees, and after that, we move on to like the event day. So this is the event day where the attendees already know like this is what we want to do, and then this is how we want to do it. So you can see on the screen that everybody is really excited with their laptops, and they're all set to hack something, and then showing their code. We also have, yeah, this is this is a really cool call out that I need to make here. We have speakers that give a talk that day. One of them is Shodipo. He was previously at, I think, Polygon as their head of dev relation, and then he moved to, I think he's at Nucleus AI right now. Yeah, so he gave a talk, and this is a caption. This is another caption from like different angle. We also have panel session. We also have Abims. Yeah, Abims he is an alumni from Web3 Bridge, and he facilitated a session on Rust, deploying your Rust application, and some other activities, and some other speakers that day. So this is another event. But then, while we are doing all of these events, apart from some other things that we fund with our own money, like things like setting up our sites, paying recurring fees and doing all of those things, which I know you are familiar with all of that, things that we do under the hood to set up the community that requires payment. We like big shout out to all the core team members. In fact, we use our money to do all of that. But then, aside this is we doing it based on our interests. This is just nobody is forcing us. This is what we want to do. We are giving back. But aside that, we also like got like I tried to apply to like public goods grant, and then we got the first one from Gitcoin grant. Then I think we started using it to support some of the things we do under the hood. But the ENS small grants, we didn't get it, but the vote was really massive. As you can see, we got like 329,000 votes. I think the person that won, because they picked I think top 3 or top 5, we were like top 6, right? Which is sad, but then we couldn't get it. But it shows, it gives us like a particular sign of yes, I think we are doing something right. As you can see here, it's showing 82 weeks ago, right? So this is long ago, and then the vision was clear, the support was massive. People are saying, oh yes, these people actually meant business and they know what they are doing and they are willing to support, right? So we didn't get that, but it shows like some sort of we are moving in the right direction. And then we also got the CLR fund. I think this was just about this is just about 100 DAI, which is also something for us to keep pushing, even though we kind of need more funds right now to do some of the strategic initiatives that we are planning, going forward, and we are hoping to collaborate with anybody anywhere in the world. So that's not possible. All of the things I've mentioned, like since the beginning of this talk, isn't going to be possible without like the core team members and the contributors, right? This is a lot of work to do. I'm not gonna lie, it's not an easy task. It is not about me giving this talk, but it's about showing the love and respect to all the core team members and contributors for helping out. And then who are they? These are all the team members. So over time, we've had like a lot of people join us as core team, and then for one reason or the other, some of them step down because of personal reasons or because of like the time they needed to give to commitment, which is understandable because I know like even right now a lot of us have been through like ups and downs. Layoffs happened and all of that. Everybody's trying to struggle to get their foot in the space. But then particularly call out like the core team: Tony, Ajoke, Zara, myself, and also Jenny. And also Koha leading DevRel initiative for us. Anything around workshop is the one like in charge of helping us with it. And we have our community manager, Eniola, that been really active and then helping us with community activities, making sure that things goes well. Because she's also a lawyer, she's very busy. Like she studied law, and law is like a lot of things to do, and then combining it is like a whole lot. And then we have Kudus Ayo helping with like our website's implementation. Kanayo Uzo helping with design also alongside Zara, and then Urura Bami Kemi volunteering to lead the whole space initiative, and some other good guys too, because I just did an highlight, but there are a lot of other ones that are also helping us. A moderator, our video content creator person that recently just joined us, Esther. She's been doing really well. In fact, she did a lot of video resource for our last event, which is quite commendable. And some other guys too that have been helping us one way or the other to push the whole narrative. We want to do like a big shout out to everyone. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for all the commitment. Thank you for everything you've been doing, and then we hope we get to like continue to do more and then put in our best to continue to grow the ecosystem. And then so that's pretty much the whole like overview. The amazing people behind the entire organization. And mind you, we are a non-profit organization. Like we don't sell anything, we don't make money, but the only thing we survive on is probably getting like grants from community members, grants from like protocols, grants from open public goods grants. The little resource that we have is what we try to manage to utilize and do everything that we've done so far, including events. Events, at least the event that we've done so far, we plan to do some other ones that we might probably now start reaching out to like even more people which is like a full-blown Web3 Africa event. But the event we've done in the past has been like a collaboration event with some of these protocols, and it has been it's fully sponsored event. And then yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you all for listening. Yeah, you can find us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube as Web3 Africa. And we also have resources that you can find beneficial on our YouTube channel that you can check out. And additionally, if you are looking to collaborate, please feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to work with you with your product, happy to work with you with your protocol. And if we have plans to do like hackathon, we can also reach out to you because we have a lot planned. I mentioned we have scholarship and mentorship program. The reason why we hold that a bit because it requires like resource. We need to at least give our mentors some sort of incentive to like get the work done, all of these things. Maybe you end it with an hackathon to get reward. So these things requires money, and then yeah, so there's no way anywhere else to get this money from other than grants or like soliciting to like protocols. So we encourage like any protocol that is interested to please come. We'll be happy to have you on and then work with you as a team.
Wow, this is such an amazing initiative that you and all those great folks are helping to kind of basically give free education and like the inside a foot inside the door of like development and the Web3 space, and basically all on your volunteer time. We all know being in Web3 is basically a chaotic schedule, chaotic for your schedule. So it's
Yeah,
amazing you are all able to band together and
and
create
the
something
interesting,
this amazing.
yeah, and the interesting thing is that we all have like our primary activities, and
Yeah.
trying to balance community work. So that is one of the reasons why I always try to emphasize on like passionate and also being interested. So I did not force anyone on the team. Everybody like kind of showed their interest, and then they keep committing to that timeline, even through struggles, through like different atmosphere within the Web3 space, like layoffs happened, everything, like a lot of people, a
Yeah.
lot of things happen in between, and the commitment is still there. Like I just feel so blessed. Like yes, I'm really grateful for like all the commitment and people that we've worked with in the past, also, and also people that we haven't worked with yet. Please come. We're happy to like work with you. But most important thing, we try to prioritize our goal, and also not to make sure that not to shield any projects that would end up, hurting our members, because we are particularly concerned about that too. So yeah, we're happy to work with you, look at what you're doing, see how we can support. And if you have sent maybe a DM on Twitter or we haven't responded, please bear with us. We are definitely going to get back to you. We are also working hard to make that process seamless so that you can get like fast responses via our email and also our Twitter DM. Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome. Awesome. I just want to squeeze one question in from the crowd before we leave. Bello asks, when is the next event and hackathon
Oh,
project or program?
no. Yeah, so I think next event is coming soon. But one thing we try to do is that we try to bring value. So it's not just about events, because there are a lot of events happening, trust me, even in at least in Africa since the last year. So there are a lot happening that you can travel to. But one thing that we try to attach to all of our events is value. And then why do we want to do the event? So there's always why before the event. But then we are planning our event soon. Of course, this year is out already, but hopefully early next year we should have something. But before then, we also have some other activities that we plan to do that is currently ongoing that you can check out our community. You see all of them. And for hackathon can come in anytime. So expect hackathon. Events is different from hackathon. Events here, I'm assuming you're talking about like physical events, right? But hackathon can come in every time because it's most likely going to be virtual, unless we want to do something like what we did before on our last event where we organized a physical event and then we added a mini hack. But if we aren't going that direction, then it means that hackathon can still happen and can be online. And by the way, we are also partnering with like different communities. We've partnered with a lot of communities. I think that's something I forgot to like include in this slide. Partner with a lot of communities within the space, a lot of protocols also that we've worked with in the past within the space. So yeah, just sit back and watch. We'll roll out announcements as we plan them going forward, and particularly scholarship and mentorship programs. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, great question. Great answer. And yeah, love the project. Unfortunately, we've gone over time, but
Yeah.
for all the best reasons. So just want to thank you again, just for coming on the show. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to give us this wonderful insight into what you and your co-founders have built at Web3 Africa. And yeah, looking forward to
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
you continue to
Thank
grow.
you very much for having me. Thank you very much for this opportunity to like tell what we've been doing. And also thank you very much for also handling all the programs, like particularly for Developer DAO. Developer DAO has been like day one inspiration for us, and we kind of use it as a blueprint. We monitor activities that is going on in Web3 and Developer DAO, and the ones that we can quickly integrate into our system. So thank you very much. Big shout out to everyone that have helped. Special shout out to Tony, because there are so many
Yeah,
times
Tony.
like I want to, I'm no longer doing this, I'm tired. And he will be like, no, yes, let's keep
Yeah.
going. So so we've seen a lot of, back and forth, a lot of ups and downs. And yeah, big shout out to him, and also the other core team members that are always showing up when we needed them the most. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Yeah, I guess with that, I want to wish everybody a very happy Friday, happy weekend, wherever you may be, and that we will catch you back here next week for another great episode of DevNTell. All right, all. Have a good
Thank you,
one.
guys. Bye.
My pleasure. Bye.